Hey guys, don't know what you're going to achieve by watching this, but we'll waste an hour anyway. That's what we're all about. And I'm doing it on my phone because my phone seems to do landscape okay. Hey Adam, Stu, Mark, Peter, Bill Baggins, g'day. Mark Osborne, hello. We are widescreen. This is on my telephone. As per Mark's suggestion, I don't know about my tablet. I'm getting a bit sick of it. This is very difficult because there's not very big text window on this phone. Anyway, here we are. It's Wednesday again. Not as convinced as I could be that there's very much to show you, but we've had a big week, so there must be something. Right. I'm tired. I'm feeling a bit like Adam, actually. It's like it's been a big week. Friday night, went to Fridges for Fridges' birthday on sort of Dan's shed for Dan's birthday on Saturday night, or Saturday. It was a good day. Steamed the roller, cut a ton of wood maybe, which was good because we needed to. And Dan having broken ribs and abused liver or whatever he's got. I'm not sure if any of his complaints are related. Punctured lung, that's what it is, or something. He didn't do a lot of firewood cutting, although he was more helpful than expected. So we spent some time and did that. Oh, good day. And stepped the roller. Had some issues with this bit, and we'll get to that in a minute. Put the roller in the shed, or undercover anyway, in the shed where it belongs, which is awesome. It's really good. Dan's not here to thank him, but he did an amazing job there over the last bit. Anyway, it's undercover. It's all good. It's right. Need some canvas around the back end, but that'll happen at some point when I'm financial and stuff, which, having owned a steamroller, I'm probably never going to be financial again. But that's how it is. Had some steam. We had some water pump issues. And there's water pump issues. First thing is that whoever restored this, and restoring it's all very well and great, excellent. But at least if you're going to restore a steamroller, and I mean, it's awesome having an operational steamroller, but at least get two bolts the same, you know? These are, this is in Dan's $1 million storage system. It must have cost him a fortune. I'll take it back to him because he's got a set of them now. I'll have to build in a shed. But this is BS 109 Whitworth from before World War II. This one's smaller size, which that actual size is 7/16 Whitworth, which is the after World War II spec. This is the more modern size on both ends. This one's something completely random on this end, and the normal modern size on that end. No idea what that is. These are just ordinary Whitworth nuts. These are standard both ends. So none of these bolts and nuts really add up. So what do? Do you sit down and make them, or do you put modern stuff in all through and say that that's good enough, or make it all match, or do you would persevere with what's there? I don't know. Don't have the answer. My OCD kicks in too. I can't handle that. I really don't have a plan, but I could spend all my life just making bolts, because this isn't the only part that at the moment needs new bolts in it. There's a lot of bits. I've made a lot of them. Like I've got spares that I've made sitting here in different sizes all over the bench. This is the same as the, see this is 7/16, no, the 7/16 Whitworth and the BS 109, the old pre-war size. Hey Randy. Hey Dan, we were talking about you, not to you. It's all good. So, and that's to demonstrate the point. Have a look in Dan's $1 million storage system. You're missing one of these containers. That's what size that is. See, exactly the same. But the thread's bigger in the middle, so they don't match. It's 7/16. That's what they should be. There's no 7/16 nuts on the rollers. They were made by mistake for something else. I don't think there's very many anyway. I've got plenty of them. But all these are 1/2 inch, so there's nothing on here that's really the same. A bit of a problem. Anyway, we could fix that. The issue is these. I'm going to find some light because there isn't any. Sorry, guys. You're in the dark. Try that. Try that. There's one seat still in here, and I've sort of got to pull it, a bolt through the middle of it to pull it out, and it's moved a bit, but it needs a bit more. Haven't pulled it out, but this is the seat out of this side, which is the delivery side. It's retained with a bolt, or it's supposed to be retained with a bolt through this hole in there where it goes in, see? Drops in there, and then that bolt. And the bolt looks... the bolt's supposed to look like this, right? This is a genuine one. Thread tape and all, right? What it's got is a broken off Whitworth bolt with the end chopped off. It's a different size head, again, because no one can get this right. So I'm going to have to make one of them because this one never had anything retained in it. So I don't know whether it's Loctited in or silver soldered in or whether it's just tight or whether someone's knurled it or what the story is. I don't know. Anyway, got to fix that. Make 2 of them for a start out of brass. Now, the issue with these, if we have a look, there we go. If you can even see this. But the issue is that they rock on the bottom there. So they don't actually seat properly. They sit on the valve seat in the housing on this curve here where they've been banging before they actually touch the seat. So this hole here, if you look at this here, this hole here and this hole here, completely shagged out, right? Completely worn out. Don't know if these are original or not. They could be easily. They might not be. According to the drawing, this should be 1/4 inch thick on the end, and it's only about 3/16. This, depending on which drawing you look at, says that it should be 9/16 high, which is about what this is, but it's flogged out because it's got this funny, it's been belled pretty seriously on the bit that sticks up above the seating. So it's just been hammered for 100 years. And the thing goes all the time, the steam and the roller's going, so it gets a hard life. So you need to get some bronze and make them up. 2 of them and 2 of these, which are basically got a fancy seat in the front top there. Hey, John. Like Dan says, the issue is they're flogged out. That's about where we are. If you're not a purist, you probably won't own a steamroller. That's the problem, yeah. So, this has this fancy bit on the end, which everyone needs, and very unlikely that everyone wants. But this is the stop. It stops it jumping up too far. It stops the valve opening too far. And that's a fit on top of there, which is all very flash and nice and things. As far as I know, I haven't seen them available in the UK. Heritage Steam Supplies might have them, but the catalogue's like this thick. And I've leafed through most of it, and I found everything else. A lot of things that I'd like that I'm never going to have. So no point looking there because they're really expensive and it's hard to get stuff, and postage freight's expensive. I think we're going to make these new ones out of bronze. If we look at this drawing, I know you're all keen to see the drawing. Here we go. This drawing. 41S54. Drawer number 350. I haven't yet, Dan, because anyway, it hasn't turned up. John Fowler and Co. Leeds. Feed pump and plaque box for D1 engines, which isn't the right one, but it's close. And it's not close enough, apparently, when you look at it closely. It's got a place here for rough tool and finish tool. Doesn't say anything about that. John Fowler Company Stencil, second time, and the drawing number on this end. So when you're looking in the drawer, you can find them if one's... Yeah. This is for a D1 roller. I don't know why, but the D1 roller and engine had this pressure pot on top. That's a bit strange. I'm not sure why that is, but the rest of the bits are the same. There's the proper tap profile. Top here and side there, proper tap for the priming tap. This atrocity in here is the seat and valve drawing. If you can decipher that, you're doing a lot better than me, because I can't. Anyway, I've had a good look at it. And a bit of a think about it. Anyway. So that's that. The D1's a bit different too. And there's quite a lot of differences amongst them. This one's got nuts and lock nuts and threads and lock nuts to connect the pipes in the bottom. Right, in 3 places. Whereas mine has 2 flanges, which were very ugly, and we need 2 new flanges to match that, I think. And a flange on the back. Right. Some of them had a flange on the front. If you look at Mark's, I've already got them drawn up, Mark. If you look at Mark's, the flange is on the front here, and this locking retaining screw is in this side here, or in this side probably. Now there's a passage there, so it's in this side, I think. And this bolts directly onto the back head pump that way, with the pump going that way. And then the flange on the front, I believe. On the roller, this sits outside the foot plate, so the pump bolts on here, and the plunger's on here. Now this seems a bit strange, because you would think that the pump, and I was always taught that the pump works better with less dead space in it. So having all this water in here pumping to the valve, all this in here pumping to the valve, and put them back and pumping and putting pressurising every time and compressing and whatever it does, you would think would minimise the the usefulness of the pump, but it doesn't because it's got this elbow on it. So that this is outside the tender, next to the gear guard. That's how that works. And this pipe here runs down the side of the gear guard. So the gear guard's in here. Some of these, and there was one on Facebook this week, the guy was looking for this elbow until I pointed out that it probably never had it. And when you went looking at the drawing, there is it goes this way on the pump. And then there's here where the gear guard is on the side outside, there's actually the diff lock automatic, or the proper like diff lock control from the cab, which was another optional extra. So there's 1,000 different ones. 1,000 different ones. Anyway, so that's that. There is a bypass valve here, which seems to be in pretty good order, really. That'll go back together. That goes in there. Right, and this is off and this is pumping, basically. And what that does is, I'm sure you all know all about steamrollers, but what it does is when this valve is in that position, pumps up here and pumps back down through there. So this valve's actually open in that position. And it pumps through here and then it pumps into overflow in the tank again. So all it does is circulate. When you close this so that it doesn't circulate, it actually pumps against the steam pressure and against the clack valve down on the boiler. So it pumps out of here and then out this one instead of out that one. And that's what controls your water flow. So that's all very exciting. Anyway, there's 1,000 things this needs, none of which are particularly easy or fun. And some of them are less important than others. This has just got a brass plate tap on here, which is fine, but it points straight up. And the position of that under the steering wheel, if you look at it, is about here. So nearly guaranteed trying to prime the pump that the person who's steering gets wet. So I believe this should have a valve on this side and then an angle this end pointing out that way off the side of the tractor onto the wheel. And I think that fixes that issue. But whether that's going to ever happen, I don't know. So that one screws in there. Now, whether the drawing doesn't say for each that this has got copper washers in it, but it must have had a gasket of some sort, so we're still thinking about that. Probably copper gaskets would be the best thing to seal these down, because they had thread tape in them and that's a bit miserable. Too much thread tape in water pumps isn't real good, and everything's got thread tape on it. So basically that screws down there, and you've got a priming tap so you can open it and remove the airlock. Used to have a chrome laundry tap, that's right, so this is much nicer. But I'm sort of feeling like it either wants an elbow on it or it wants fixing properly at some point. So this is exactly the same part here, right? Now, Mark and I were talking and realised that the clack valve has one of these on it too, which is also exactly the same part. Like, it looks factory identical. So this part in the clack, and two of these, one above the other. Probably going to do the unforgivable and mix these up now. But the clack valve has two of these, which operate one at a time, and one of these on top. So I think they're identical parts. However, they may be identical parts for this roller, but they're not identical parts across the Fowler line, because the D1 has quite a bit different seats and quite a bit different one of these. It's a different diameter in here. And it's a different thickness here. The clacks probably have it out just exactly the same. We'll get these done first. I think copper gaskets are probably the go. They're just not listed on the drawing. So there you go. There's 20 minutes of very exciting insight into steamroller water pumps from John Fowler and Co. in Leeds. And there's a whole assortment of drawings that I have access to. Most of them are about that readable. So we're still looking at that. There's the seat there. There's another view of it and the valve on top of it. But this is a different seat. Absolutely, it's got a different piece on top there. It's a different shape. Can't say it's a later model because this drawing is 1925. But it's a little bit different. And the D1 was a different range of engine. I don't know why they didn't standardise pumps. You would think that all the pumps would be standard and you just pick one off the shelf and bolt it on. But that's not how they did things in the Victorian age in England. Hey James, good morning. Photoshop could fix it real quick. I don't think it could actually. I think it's unreadable from the start. It's had that many more notes and things on it. It's just unreadable. Happy birthday, James. Yeah. Anyway, that's the pump. Nightmare fuel. You've got to get this fixed though, because it's no good as it is, and the roller's out of action without it. Fridge. If you're down there in the shed and doing nothing one night, and you had a roll of masking tape, you could run a bit of masking tape over those 3 pipes so they don't fill up with wasps. If you would, that would be much appreciated. Much appreciated. There's something else I was going to ask you about too, but I can't remember what it was. It was to do with this pump, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I think it's 100 years ago that the last cup of coffee got spilled on the drawing. Darren, good day. Anyway, so there's some bolts. And there's some other bits. Dan missed that. Dan, if you're down there with a roll of masking tape, you could run a bit of tape over the top of those delivery and feed pipes on the where the pump come off to stop the wasps and things going in. Would be much appreciated. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Like Cole's funny picture book. There's you understood the fruit was cherry. A apple pie, yeah. B bit it and C cut it and D dealt it. I can't remember what E did. F fought for it. Anyway, you understood the fruit was cherry. Not that that's relevant at all, but there you go. Completely irrelevant. Anyway, that's the pump, and that's where we got with that. So some of the wasps are probably too big to fit in the pipes. That's very true, but they're going to have baby wasps, and that looks like a fairly good hole for them. So, anyway. Sleep, Adam. Get some sleep. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So, that was that. Come home Monday, I did some laundry. I opened some boiler attendance course books for an hour and filled out a few pages. What else did I do? I drove around. I went and bought a drum for for Dan. Dan needed a galvanised 60 litre drum. You'll let him explain that somewhere in the video. But he's got one now. Of course, coming home Sunday night, I sent Joe a message saying I was at Tweed, and he said, well, could you pick up something for me on the way through? So there was a toolbox on Marketplace that he wanted, a fairly big German toolbox at the right price. So I stopped by and picked that up. So I was fairly late getting back. We've got a toolbox in the house, and it's all in bits, and he's out there at the moment watching the paint dry, I think, is what's happening. That's the stage it's at. Anyway, that's that done. So, what else I do Monday? Oh geez, I don't know. I didn't pick up a paintbrush, which is pretty slack. It's really a bit unforgivable, but I didn't. Did some laundry and stuff like that. I feel like it was a fairly busy day. I don't know. I went and got a tin of varnish. So use whatever's in that tin fridge for your woodwork. And there's another tin for a second coat. I'll bring down. Job's done. So that was Monday. It was a bit of a write-off, really. Got some things done. I pulled this apart too, pulled one seat out and had a go at pulling another one out and gave up and went and bought another bolt. Bought a bolt, put the nut on, and then because this is blind in here, this doesn't go all the way through like you'd think it might. It doesn't. The bottom of this seat comes into this hole. So this is the space in the top that pumps. Now it only pumps, it's only open to the bottom here through this one, which is your it's only open to the bottom when the valve's open. So when the valve's shut, it pumps, it pushes the water, it pulls the water through this one and then pushes the water out through this one. That's how that works. So this one in here sucks the water through from the top, opens the valve. Right, when this plunger comes back, this pushes down on the seat sometimes, but it doesn't at the moment, and lifts this seat and pushes out through the top. If the bypass is open, then the path of less resistance is down the side here and out through here. So there's no actual passage right through, so you can't just get in the back and punch it out like I did that one. I just gave that to the brass punch. It fell out. So I'll put a bolt in this one, and I'll put a plate across it, and I can screw it out. But you've got to hold this nut on the 8mm nut on the bottom. So we either need a spoon, to weld a piece of 6mm rod on the side, which probably works. That might be an answer. So it doesn't turn, or I don't know if it does work actually, because if you get it so it doesn't turn, then it's probably not going to come through the hole and you're going to bend something. So probably the best option is to get a bent spanner that goes in there and holds it so that you can jack it out. So that's the plan for that. Anyway. That's that. That was half my weekend. Tuesday. What happened Tuesday? Tuesday we've got all these 3D printed bits here. Right? No progress on this bit. We've got one that's crap. Does it help if I put my finger over there? No, not really. Right. Dallas cast one of these at the foundry. And it's sort of alright, but it's very, very ugly, to be honest. And it's not helping steam flow or anything. It looks ugly and it looks heavy and it looks like this is a much nicer looking thing, but even that's way over engineered, I think. right? And it had some sand wash out here on the bottom corners. So some of these are really sharp corners, 2 of them, and 2 of them not so much. And it's got this funny shape in the bottom where the pattern fell in, and there's a fair bit of clean-up work on this, and you machine this back down and drill a hole in the centre and stuff like that. You've got quite a heavy casting. It's probably half that weight when it's put together, but I haven't attempted that again. I did try and pour one of these, and I left it on the bench up there. I hope it's still there. Got to go and get some patterns. Yeah, we're getting that, Mark. Yeah, thank you. For the reminder. Yeah, we've got them here. So, this isn't the pattern I use. This is a fairly ordinary 3D printed pattern with some layer shift issues and things. But this one hasn't got any shrink on it. The full-size pattern does have a bit of shrink on it, and it was about right because I went up and moulded this up. I've got a slide hammer. I haven't got a slide hammer that takes an 8mm bolt. That's where I'm at. So this is the one, see, if we look at that, this is the one with 1.6% shrink or something. So give you some idea how much shrinkage is a little bit there on that. Gives you some idea how much bigger the shrink one is than the actual job. So here we go. Look at this. We've got one of these, which is very nice. Right, which is exactly the same, shrink and all, really, as down to size and everything. So we cast one of these. As you can see, I've machined a shoulder on the corner there, like so forth. And when we get this piece made or cast or whatever we're going to do, right, we'll machine a shoulder to match on the inside so they fit together. And then we'll either silver solder these two together, or we'll run around it with a TIG and some brazing rod, something like that. TIG braze it, or TIG brazing is probably easy, except I'm not fluent enough to TIG braze. I know you say you are, but I know people that are fluent with it and pretty neat and tidy, so I'll get them to do it pretty good for whatever it takes. So that gives you some idea of the shrinkage on that, because the pattern was the same size. Mark talks it up, but I don't know. I've done enough TIG brazing to know that it's not a fun thing, and I reckon I'd be lousy if I haven't done any for a few years. But I know someone who does it all the time. We can give Mark a try, and there'll probably be 2 of these in the end, so he can do his. But rather than put someone through the stress of actually welding this up, I think I'll get another mate who's pretty good with these to do it. So this goes on here, and this with the four pegs here, something like that, goes in there, right? And then this is machined to match in concentric with this, and the reed plate goes on top with a 16th gap or something like that on here, all the way around, and then there's a bolt down through the middle, like a big stud that screws the reed plate in place. And that's then the bell goes on top of that, and the nut on top of that. So that's how that works. So there's a valve goes on the bottom here, and that's probably, to be honest, that's probably the next bit. There's going to be a split casting with a core in it. Core's about toilet roll size. So we'll just use a piece of cardboard carton or piece of PVC or whatever I can find. I think I've got a piece of cardboard here to make a silicon a core anyway, and mould both halves, and then lift them out of the mould and put the core in place and put the other top of the mould on it and pour that, and that should mean that we're not cutting out 1 3/4 or something in the middle of wastage. It's going to take 2 days to do. So we can just set them up on the hexagon and bore it, hopefully. And then that can be either welded around the top or around the bottom or something. And threaded on the bottom, and then there's a seat and everything for the valve, and there's an opening in the side for the lever. The lever needs to be laser cut or something, probably is the easiest way. You can cut it out of plate with nothing else to do, an angle grinder, but I've got to get new flanges for this. Several other bits that need to be cut, so we'll get this done at the same time, the lever and whatever else needs doing, I guess. Get someone to plasma cut them, whatever. So that's progress on that. There's actual progress. There's an actual part that's starting to look like a part, which I'm really pleased about. And this is a really nice casting. It's finished up pretty nice. Poured in here pretty good. It's the second attempt at this. The first one collapsed. Put the top back on the mould and it just fell in. So when we poured it, it had a big hole in it. Not good. But this one's running here beautifully and we've got really nice casting. There was a fairly big gate on here where the metal poured in, and then we just put a series of air vents, only bikes, like bike spoke size, into the top of the casting so that the metal flowed all the way to the back and come up through. And a big gate on here, which I've actually machined off on Tuesday afternoon when I got home. So what I did was set this up pretty nice on the inside here, because this is a good finish in the four-jaw, and bored this face the back. Then set that up on the inside, on the outside of the three-jaw chuck, nice and tight and firm, and flat against it, and machined this flat and machined all this edge, turned it round and machined this radius on here. So everything's cleaned up pretty nice, pretty happy with that. So that's that. Pouring this is going to be a fun thing. I don't know really the best way to do this. Probably we could put, it's not on the drawing, but probably we could put a little bit of draft on here on the inside, facing up to the top towards this lip, which needs to be machined. I'm still not feeling that. I mean, while you'll pull it out of the outside of the mould, pulling it out of the outside without the sand caving in and still being able to clean it over, because when you tip this over, it's all very well, but when you tip this over to clean it out, the middle here being not particularly well anchored to the rest of the sand, just falls out. Then you've got problems. So casting it, when you do it in 3 bits and then make a wooden mandrel and some tie wire around it and then weld it in 3 bits and then machine it, that might work, because that way you've only got sort of that much depth and you can lay them down on their side and do like odd side box. So if you're casting, say, that much of it, a third of it, you could sit that in a box and then put the sand in nice and tight on top of it, turn it over, clean this out, and then put sand in nice and tight on top of this, so that with a parting line, so that when you lift the top off, this piece in here lifts off as well. Then when you pull the pattern out, you've got a gap there. Would it roll down? No, it's not cost effective. That's the thing. Because a piece of brass that's 65mm wide and 3/16 deep And then you're still going to make a ring to go in it as well. This bit of brass for this is going to cost me $150, whereas there's about, seriously, scrap brass, there's probably $10 worth of brass in it. And if I stuff it up, I can throw it back and use it again. So I can throw that back and use that for it. So I don't think that rolling it up's the answer. I thought about it pretty seriously, and it'd probably be alright, but getting the diameter and everything right with the nice round ends and nice and uniform, I'm just not feeling like that's a good idea. I've thought about it, not feeling it. So, open to other suggestions. A couple of guys at the club have been messing with lost PLA, or whatever they call it. There's a particular PLA filament that burns out clean. That's used specifically for that, and you just bake it in the oven. The issue with that is that this won't go in my oven, not inside a sandbox anyway. And by the time I mould this, bring it home, stick it in the oven, burn this out, stink everyone out, and then take it back, we're going to find that this is going to be damaged anyway. So that's not going to work. The other thing we could do is make a core that goes on the inside, right? We could pack it with sodium silicate, with sand, and cure it with CO2, and have a core on the inside, and then just use a solid, a pattern for the core box, in the box, and leave a recess so that the core sits down on top of it. Could do that. And that would work very nicely too. And then you could just pour into the core, and you could clean. You could just pack sand to the outside and then pull the whole piece out, and the sand in the middle too. If you made a mild pattern with a boss on the middle, you could pull this out and put the core in place and put the top on, pour it. So that's probably a good option too. Dallas doesn't give up all that easy. This is like waving a red rag at a bull. He says, leave it with me and I'll see what I can do. I didn't leave it with him because I'm not sure that these sizes are quite right. So the pattern might need a little bit of work, because I'm not sure I left, when I think about it, I left machining allowance on the inside here. I'm not sure. So if I haven't, I'll just print a ring to go in there and push it in and glue it in, sand it up and fill it. You could pour it open, yes. However, a bit less controlled, to be honest, pour an open mould in brass. Yes, it will sort of work. You've got chill where it goes around corners is a bit more extreme, things like that. I'm not sure I'd like to try it, not on this casting. So it's very easy to make a box, just mould a box on a square so it's flat. I just on a piece of plywood so it's flat, and then if this is all sitting up nice and flat, nice and everything's nice and level, then you can just drop that piece in. But what you do is you put the core in, and put the pattern back in, and mould the box on top, and then you've got the right shapes and everything. When you pull it apart, you can see where to put gates and things. So that's where we're at. That's sort of the next job. Probably it's not. Probably the valve's the next job, because that's a very easy job. It's the fitting on the bottom. It's a fairly easy casting, and we can make it. It requires minimum machining, so we might do that next. Got to find a piece of cardboard tube for a core so I can measure it and make it the pattern with the appropriate size core prints. There you go. Probably I've got, to be honest, something the right size here. like probably a box of these, which is a mailing tube. That's about right. Probably just cut a piece of mailing tube and use that. A piece of PVC pipe might even be better because it's smooth and the core comes out a lot easier. A piece of PVC pipe and split down one side of it so you can separate it or split it in half and put some rubber bands around it. So that's that job. So they're things that are going on. I said I wasn't going to start this, it was just going to be a concept. However, there you go. I get this bottom fitting and all the bits made, valve and the reed plate and the outer housing and the stud and stuff, then we can think about the difficult bit, which is the bell. Oh crap. This is 1/6 size, so you can sort of see that's the size comparison there. 60%. Not 1/6, it's 60%, so that's 6/10. 6/10 size. So that's the fitting on the bottom with the gap in it. Not going to bother putting the gap in it. I'm going to machine this solid with the core through here. I'll cast it solid with the core through there. And then we can grip this in the 3-jaw hopefully and machine all this nice. Set it up that way, or set it up nice and flat, or bolted down or something in the vise, or even this way, and we can machine through from the top and put this in here before we weld it together, and then you've got a nice square gap, and you've got less problems with chatter and stuff when you're trying to hold it and machine it. So anyway, after that is this bit, and that's going to be the challenge, right? Because this is 6/10 as well. But there's some interesting challenges in that. I don't know whether we're going to cast it or fabricate it or what yet. We'll see how we go as we go. Might have a couple of goes at casting it, and if it fails, we'll fabricate it. But that's one of life's little challenges, I think. Anyway, so we've got one of them. Called in and saw Mrs. Mark's shed on Tuesday on the way up because they live up near there on the way back. She's done some very cool what have we got here? It's fluff. Don't think it's spiderweb, it's fluff. She's done some shirts with embroidered patch on the front and embroidered patch on the back, which is really nice. So pretty happy with them actually. Pretty cool. So that's another thing I picked up on Tuesday. Pretty excited about that. So I got some work shirts. They're only cheap Kmart shirts, but comfortable tees. That's done. Thanks to Mrs. Mark Shed for that. I'm interested to see if the 3D printed version would work too. There's quite a lot of metal parts that are needed before that happens, like a screw through the middle and stuff like that, and probably it would, to be honest. But probably not a big deal to get it to the stage where you can test it, and I might do that yet. Might do that yet. So if we were to basically put the reed plate on, make a steel bolt for it, or even a bit of all thread if we could find the right thread. I don't know if we can, this odd thread. Up through the top, nut on top, Then we could probably test this and see if it actually gives a note, which would be interesting. I'm more likely to do that because Dan's bought one from America, a little chime whistle, and that works fine just on, like, you can blow that and make a nice sound with it. It works less well on air pressure, and I'm not sure on steam pressure. I'm not sure about that. Hi, Nigel. So I don't know if this will work. Maybe at some point when I've got nothing to do, I'll make a start for it, screw it all together, see if it does work. Also need this bit, which is an interesting little casting. It's got some fairly interesting cores in it. That requires a little bit of thinking about, to be honest. Not sure. I think you make that in one piece with a gap through the middle, so you make a core box that the middle slides out of. So make this to fit the hole. With this piece in the centre, which is actually banana shaped on each side, so it's got a curve there and a curve there to clear that. So make that piece maybe. So I'm not sure. I've really got no idea about this, but that your steam delivery is past this valve here, which is valve seat. That's what stops it. This lever in here works inside this slot, and that's what lifts it off the seat. And when it lifts it off the seat, the air or the steam goes past there, through there, and up through the top. So there's some little challenges in this as well. And then this is just bored, and this is machined to fit with a 45 seat. It's got a square on the end to lap it. So, not even sure where we're going with that, or what we're going to do, whether we're going to fabricate it up. Maybe that's probably the easiest. No idea. Take care, Paul. Could probably easily fabricate it up. Probably easier than casting it. I'm not sure. Maybe you make it in 2 bits with this tube with the ports in it, and this top here, and machine them together and fit them together and solder them together. Don't know. Interesting. That screw there retains in that slot, so it stops it coming out or falling out or whatever. Limits its travel. So, don't know. That's the genuine consensus on that. It's all pretty much suck it and see. Excuse the pun. But got no idea. We'll see. But we're making a start because we've got a bit there that's made a good start. If we can get this bit, make a decent pattern that actually works for this, and cast another one. Probably quite a bit lighter than that. I don't think it needs to be anywhere near that heavy. That's heavier than the rest of it put together. This is solid. And there's some really ugly edges and things here where it's all falling apart. So, going to have to address that. Exactly, Peter. That's what we're having in here. So that's got to be done. This has got to be done. What else? I've got to sweep this lathe because I've got brass everywhere here at the moment, where I've been making that, machining it up. Haven't done anything with that. I've got a toilet roll insert there that's about the right size, but it's about an inch too short for the pattern. Haven't even looked at this, to be honest. I've got the castings there. That's as far as I've got. I'm feeling guilty because I didn't get in and do some on this because I really need to. But they need to be finished. This one still looks like a grey panel. which is terrible. I've got artwork ready to sketch out on it. And once I sketch it out, it probably wouldn't take much to get it going. But also got some washing soda there, which probably is going to make an electrolysis bath for the Bay of Peacock pump engine cylinder that's stuck. So that's another job, because we need another job. Haven't even looked at any of this stuff much. This belt's done a bit of hard work on the machine, that casting, that's all I've done. Anyway, that's pretty well it. Anything else exciting? Has anyone else got anything to share? Mark's doing stuff. Hey Mark, I forgot to tell you the other night, and I was going to have a discussion about this, but we never. That date on the front rolls on my engine corresponds. It says March 26, which is 3 weeks or a month before the roller was shipped. So I'm guessing it is a date. And yours probably is too. So there you go. Interesting. So there we go. Another thing we did on Saturday, we went and messed around with Williams boiler in Grafton proper. Williams got a very cool woodworking, metalworking shop that's all line shaft powered under the house. Very nicely done. Everything looks appropriately period. Very cool. Very nice. A lot of cool machines. Very nice 6 horsepower, probably 6 horsepower vertical steam engine he's bought, and he's got a boiler for it that needs a little bit of work. So we went in and run the ultrasonic thickness gauge across that and had a look at it. And poor guy's labouring away, chopping bits off it now and cleaning it up. So that's very cool. It's another job that everyone needed. But it's very cool to see someone getting a bit passionate about boiler stuff. We're definitely neighbours. I'm not sure that's a good thing or not, but we are. Anyway, that's that. I would like to go and do some more of this next weekend. Either one of these pieces, or probably the valve if we get there, and have that machine by next week ready to look like it's fitting on there. But it hasn't happened. Winky's Workshop. That's a very good series actually. I'm enjoying that. Oh no, it's easy to be passionate if you don't have one. All you got to do is turn up. Turn up, feed you, probably give you something to drink if you're lucky. If we know you're coming, we will. And we'll make you passionate about it. We'll even give you a ride of a steamroller occasionally and drive for it. Anyway, just turn up. Don't stress about not owning one. So, where was I leading with that? Yeah. Who else has got some cool videos out this week? I think there's one from Rustnox. I'm going to go and look at it tonight, probably. I had it bookmarked. Off topic, but there's a new video series from Itchy Boots. If you don't watch Itchy Boots, you probably should. That's as close to popular YouTubers that I actually follow. But she's got a new series. She broke a collarbone in Africa last series and cut it short. She's been recovering, but she's got a new bike all set up. And apparently, the video that comes out this week, probably out now, is like a this is where I'm going, this is what's going to be happening. So a new series on a 1970s bike, which is an interesting choice, but anyway, good on her. So that's something that's worth looking at, I think. Who else is here that's got videos? Mark's got a good video on pegboards, good video on some good live streams. He does some great live streams. They're worth joining in on. If you didn't see last night's live stream, it'll be the only time probably that you'll ever see Dan's shed on actual camera. So go and check that out. Nigel, was there a new video? I haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry if there was, but I could go and check it. This is very good catalyst for me because it's a very good catalyst for me because it makes me go and look at people's videos. There's a new Chirpy video too. It's very good. There was probably a Journeyman Randy video too. I haven't seen that yet. Not sure about that. Anyway, all very cool. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. I got a bit enthusiastic about machining this brass. While the machine's kind of dirty, I probably should finish these for Dan. Got 3 of these to finish and I've been a bit slack with them. So probably on this weekend, that's probably a good job just to do that. What's the popping? No idea. So I should finish them at some point while I'm doing it, while I'm in the mood, before I turn them into valves. That's brass and that needs to be good quality gunmetal, the drawing says. There we go. Use only, it says. I think it's a bit specific about that. If we look at the drawing, materials for valves, it has a fairly specific note. Here it is. There we go. These valves must be made of good, strong gunmetal. There we go. It didn't say anything about quality. It just says good, strong gunmetal. Something with plenty of copper in it, I guess. So, there you go. If you wanted information on the angle of the petcocks and tapered plugcocks and this thing, there's that. The hole in the cock body will be made the same shape as the hole in the stopper. That's exactly the information you need. That's all there is. That's what you got. That's it. They got a match. And I don't have the match from here to here to here to here, because when I pulled my drain cocks apart, none of them were the same tape at all, even close. So there we go. So that's what I mean. If I guess we make a new valve for this at some point, which we might, I don't know if we will. I'm not feeling that as much as I should. We'll see how we're going for time. At some point I might make one. It's an easy job to change it over at some point in the future. But if that happens, then yeah, I guess we'll make them both the same and be done with it. This is an interesting thing for Richard Mark, and anyone else who's interested. This says September the 21st, 1899, there's a note on this drawing. It says petcock R144 is superseded by A260, which will duplicate all engines sent out with A144 or R144. So there's this jigger here, which is actually in the top of here where this valve goes, right? Which is spring loaded with a button on top, and when you push it in, it lets the water pass and it shoot out the side there. That's very cool. But it's an auto closing priming valve. Not sure how effective it was or whether it leaked or what happened, because they've changed it. But that's what we got. It might have been a bit difficult to use. It looks legible up there and it's quite good. It's not legible down here where this is. At all, even a little bit. I can see measurements like this one here says 1/8. Absolutely no idea which bit of it's 1/8. That's a bit of an inlet. This one's a 1/8 too, but it still doesn't give you the information. This one's 3/8. I think that applies to wall radius on the outside of the casting, which is irrelevant. These are pipe diameters. This is the main inside, I guess. No, not really. That says 1/8 inch. Well, that might be right. It might be 1/8 inch bore. This here is 1 5/8 or 5/8 or something like that. No idea what any of this is. No, that one definitely says 5/8. Probably. Might say 51/8. I think it says 5/8. But that might be this measurement along there. No, that's 1.5 inch. Got no idea. I have to sit down and study it a bit more. And this view of it here with the rest of the information on it is no better. It's got part numbers on it. It's got it has got a drawing number there. I believe that to be a drawing number. So that if anyone's got drawing number Z11486, be very keen to find out. Anyway. Wildlife? Where was the wildlife? Anyway, so only wildlife in here. Anyway, I think we'll call that a win. Chickens. There's the chicken scratch, all right. We'll probably call that a win. We've gone overtime. It's feeling a lot like bedtime for me. I don't know. I might watch the YouTube Boots and I might watch the Russ Knox video. That was the thoughts tonight. We'll see how that goes. And I think the YouTube Boots doesn't hit till midnight, so we probably won't do that right now. And there'll be more progress on all these things, I hope, next week. Should have that seat out anyway, and probably give that a scrub up and a coat, get it back to brass, and probably put a coat of undercoat on it, so it actually looks like something. And probably another casting, sort of half looking like a casting or a piece. And what else? Probably some artwork. There won't be any new bolts, promise, because I don't think I'm going to get to that yet. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in. Be kind to each other. Thanks for the likes and subscribes, and also no point in giving you that, any of you, that information. If someone's liked the button, press the like button. That's awesome. But anyway, I'm out, and more soon. Stick around for some pretty crazy projects in the next little while. And if you've all got videos up, plug them, absolutely. Jump up and down the chat, and if I see the comment, I'll shout you out. Anyway, take care, have a good one, and more soon, guys and girls. I'm out.